Happy Sunday, AfterBuzzers. Welcome back to another Botched After Show. It is Season 4, Episode 7, Lumpy Lady Lumps. You don't want to miss this.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome back. I'm so excited to be here this week. We decided to put on Lovely Lady Lumps, 2005 ladies. Where was everybody in 2005?
Oh God, I dread to think. High school.
It was high school, right? 2005?
Just after.
Not for me.
Dare we say our
I
age?
was in middle school.
In 2005, I think I was like 5 years old.
Yes, I was definitely.
Totally kidding. All right, guys, so it's Lumpy Lady Lumps. We are talking duck lips, downward nipples, and of course, the witch nose. And before we get into that, I want to introduce my gorgeous co-host, starting off with Ashley, who is joining us for today's episode.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Ashley, and you can find me all over the internet at Ashley on camera.
Hi everybody, I'm so excited to be back. You can find me on Instagram at Bonjour Juliet.
And I'm Anissa. You can find me on any social media site at Anissa Barr with 3 R's at the end.
And I'm Lina Noory. You can find me on Instagram at Lina Noory and on Twitter at Lina Noory _. And I'm so excited to be back this week. Sorry I was not here last week, but I'm going to make up for it today. And we're going to start by talking about Jonathan.
Oh, Jonathan.
Oh, Jonathan. Wow. I mean, his lips, we're talking 11 syringes in 2 years.
But they're not that big.
Right.
They're not big enough, apparently. So Jonathan has been tanning since the 11th grade. At least he's doing a spray tan and not an actual tan, so I'm all about that. He said he is looking to be fake because fake is perfection. He would be depressed if his lips weren't as big as they were because he doesn't want to be basic. Mm-hmm. So, girls, what was your first thoughts? Ashley, let's start off with you on Jonathan.
Oh my gosh, this guy, I mean, I love him because he's hilarious. I feel like everything he said was sort of like the perfect soundbite. You could not get a funnier guy. So props to him for like owning his own ridiculousness and just owning the fact that he just is like, he's a houseboy and he loves it and he owns that. So I think he's hilarious first and foremost, but whoa, those lips, they are big. I felt like they were just ready to like pop just looking at him. Can't imagine he'd actually want them any bigger.
You said he was so like out there and so extreme, but again, like how can you not love him? He's just embracing life in a twisted way, but in his own way, and like just killing it.
I'm still trying to figure out what basic means. I honestly don't understand what that really means. But his lips, I think they're fine. Like, I think they're fine. That's what I thought. His lips remind me of Big Ange from Mob Wives. Mm-hmm. That big lips out there, and I think he shouldn't do any more.
Well, as we found out at the end of the episode, he can't do anymore.
Yeah, so I believe so. When he was in the consultation, what they basically said is that he has filled his lips so much that the inner part of his lip that's supposed to be fully like wet at all times is now out touching the air. So that's why he has extreme dryness. It's interesting if you guys paid attention. He actually has those little like white bubbles, and from what I know, those are kind of like your glands in your lips. So his lips are so full that it's coming out to the surface, and they were extremely dry. Yeah. Like he must be putting chapstick on that like all day, the time, every day. But what I'm surprised is that his lips haven't ripped yet, because if you looked like right in the center, it was so red. It looked like at any moment his lips were gonna rip.
Yeah, they're gonna burst. Yeah. They were gonna burst. That's crazy. And like they even said, if you get some more, they're like all the crazy side effects that could happen. His cheek goes black. Yeah. His lips are gonna die and fall out. And yet he still I think he might go back. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean he can't even close his lips, you guys. That's like is that a problem?
That was
kind of like a concern.
Thing. Yeah. Can you close your lips? He's like, yes.
I think he's a classic case of somebody that, as Dr. Nassif said, that he's about to go too far, and because he hasn't seen the repercussions of it, he's still like crossing over that fine line. Yeah. Like the fact that he's telling him to his face that you could possibly hit that blood vessel that gives like coloring to your face, and your whole face could go black, and he's like, okay, still might go back. Now I will say though, I don't know how authentic he actually was. I feel like he just wanted to be on the show just to be on the show. So I wanted to know your girls' thoughts. Do you guys actually think after this he's gonna go and still get his lips filled, or do you think he just wanted to make a cameo on Botched?
Wow, that's a good question. Yes and no. Excuse me. I think he did it because be on the show because he could become a celebrity. That's our 15 minutes of fame, and the way his personality, the way he presents, it kind of seems like it. But in a way, if he say that he's going to get his lips filler done 11 times and he wants to do it more, then in a way it felt like he wasn't gonna keep going, and hopefully he like stops. When a doctor said it's enough is enough, you need to stop. And at the end of the day, I hope that he doesn't go any further.
Well, I had a question, which I kind of was wondering why the doctors didn't say this, and I would love to know what you girls think. But so, okay, there's two kinds of, for people who want bigger lips, like true confession, I have had my lips injected, okay? Now here for the world to know, I've had them injected twice, actually, and it never worked for me. It didn't give me, like, the right shape. It didn't do anything, and then I'm like, this is ridiculous, because I'm just literally throwing money away, and it's not working. And a lot of I went to two different doctors. I'm sure they weren't plastic surgeons. But they said because I didn't have the right lip shape, I could either just continue getting injections and it would just kind of look a little puffy, or they could put in basically implants, which I wondered, like, if he really wants that really full look, why couldn't he consider actual, like, implants, you know, like Kylie style? Those aren't fillers, that's an actual implant. So I wondered why they hadn't recommended like an implant situation for him.
I don't think Kylie's is an implant. I'll tell you, speaking also from personal experience, I'm always very open about things I've done in my past. I've definitely tried lip fillers. I've done them for a couple years. These are actually my real lips now because I had a very bad sensitivity reaction. And I would like to give a disclaimer that he is a very famous Beverly Hills doctor, so it's not a botched case where I went to somebody that wasn't certified. I cannot say his name just because that's not what the point that's not what the point of saying all this is. It's just for anybody out there that's considering it. You know, you said yourself, your lips, they're constantly moving. Right. It's like you're not actually meant, I mean, no part of your body are you meant to put a filler in. It's like your body was made a certain way. You're supposed to embrace it. But I understand, you know, everyone has insecurities. I always wanted my lips to look bigger. And the doctor actually, what he did was he overfilled my lips. So what I had was a sensitivity reaction, which is why when I was watching Jonathan, mine were never as big as his, but they actually tore in the center. Like, I actually have photos. I wish I would have brought them in and I would have actually put them on the screen.
Next episode, tune in.
Next episode, right? No, because I genuinely don't want people to make the mistake I made. And he had overfilled, and his technique is that he didn't just fill your lips. He filled, because like, you know how you said, yeah, he filled the upper. So then when you're looking from like a side profile, you don't have like that duck. But what ended up happening is, like I said, he overfilled. I had a complete allergic reaction to it. And then on top of that, he put what was Juvederm Ultima X, which is like the most potent, hard type of filler, which is what I think Kylie puts in her lips. And when you have something, as you can see, it keeps yapping and moving, it's not meant to have something hard in it. So I definitely think Kylie is using some kind of thick material. I don't think it's actually like
an actual implant.
Because then you would have to have stitches and stuff, like unless she had it from the inside. I just don't think she had an implant. I think she just did the very thick material. And with Jonathan, I really hope he stops. Maybe we'll do a follow-up in a couple episodes and see if he actually followed through and did it, because I'm telling you, his lips will rip.
Yeah. And they were saying that, the doctors were saying that. On top of it, we've seen throughout the season extreme people who want to go to take these extreme measures to get all this plastic surgery done, and they usually give them an out. They don't suggest it, but they're like, okay, here are your other options. They didn't even mention anything about that. It was just negative side effect after, not even negative side effect, like very, very severe consequences, and yet still has that spark in his eyes, and he's like, I need bigger lips.
Yeah, so knowing that people want to get bigger lips, that's their personal business, that's their, thing. I remember when I was younger, I wanted smaller lips. And I didn't like I didn't like my big lips, and I didn't understand. And I never wore lipstick or anything. I still don't. And now the fact that people now want bigger lips, I'm just like, oh, okay. Like, I feel better. I feel not better. I feel a little bit more better. But I still think that knowing the fact that people want something that you have is so different, so weird to me.
Well, in a way, you're kind of touching base on the fact that we're so inundated and so many people are getting so much done. A lot of it are trends. Mm-hmm. So you have to really pay attention to the decisions you're making.
Exactly.
At least in the case of lip injections, not that I'm defending it. I mean, obviously, for medical reasons, I would never even go down that route again. It's so easy to think that it's not going to happen to you. Especially if, in my case, I was going to a Beverly Hills doctor, very well known, very reputable, and it still happens to you. And
it's quick, right? It's like you're in and out really, really quickly. You're not really going into surgery.
You're in and out, and then also, too, it's not permanent. So it's unlike some of the other things that people are constantly doing, you know it's only going to last 6 months to a year, so even if the fat goes out. But like I agree, I only shared my experience because I swear you cannot go on Instagram without seeing all these social media influencers getting their lips pumped. And it's like, listen, more power to you if you want to get your lips pumped, but then there's these young girls that are very impressionable seeing that, oh, this girl I follow on Instagram and she does it and then she does it. Well, they're getting paid to post it. Yeah. They're also getting paid to promote it. So I just think that there should be a disclaimer out there to make sure you know what you're getting yourself into, especially to the younger girls at home. It's expensive. It's like not worth it, to be honest. And there's so many possible, like you can get extreme dry lip from it too. Like I swear to God, I don't go anywhere, like no joke. Oh yeah. I'm not even joking. Like I go through 50 of these a year.
That's the best stuff too. I love that.
But I have like extreme dry lip from it. So ladies at home,
maybe it'll trend backwards. Like you were saying, now big lips are in trend. I'm like waiting for thin lips to come back in and like have my moment to shine. Like, thin lips.
Well, I mean, thin lips are in. A lot of celebrities, especially if they're like actors and stuff, they can't get their lips filled. If they're filming roles from the 20s, nobody had big fake pump lips back then. So
to each their own, honestly. I think it's just, it is what it is. And him, same thing. He has these big lips, and he kept on saying throughout the episode, I know they can be bigger. I see people all the time with big lips, and I want the biggest lips. And he cannot. Medically, it's just not possible. So you have to, it's kind of the same way where you're born with what you have. And surgery, they can enhance certain things, but you are born with what you have. They're not miracle workers.
Yeah.
And I actually really liked at one point the doctor, when he came in for his consultation, he was saying, I just want fillers. The doctors were like, we're botched doctors. We do reconstructive surgery. You don't need anything done. And I thought that was really interesting because we always have a character like that comes in that's out of the norm in the way where they just want something kind of obscene.
I feel like he just honestly wanted a cameo and Botched.
Yeah, probably.
Now that makes sense, the fact that you just said that. Now it makes little sense, because if you wanted to get bigger lips and you want fillers, you would go to a doctor that does fillers, not a plastic surgeon.
Yeah.
He just wanted to be. There's always that one character. I think we've seen it throughout the season who want extreme or bigger boobs. In this case, lips. So he was still very entertaining. I'm very happy we need those characters. It definitely spice up the episode.
Yeah, it does.
Jonathan just wanted to be a fancy housewife on Botched. So we're gonna move on to Darlene, who is downward nipples girl. And actually, what I love about Darlene is that she's a classic case of a woman who had kids. And unfortunately, some of the side effects of having children is weight gain, stretch skin, so it can range anywhere from like a tummy tuck to obviously needing a breast lift. So Darlene had surgery, and 3 to 4 months into her surgery, her implants started pointing out to the sides. The breasts were not only ripping, but the nipple was pointing further down south. So she is wanting to get her personal training degree, so obviously this is something that she wanted for herself to make herself feel better. What is your guys' thoughts? Like, before we get into the actual surgery, what is your guys' initial thoughts of Darlene?
Yeah, well, what really struck me about her story in particular is like seeing, okay, she's obviously, her and her husband are very into physical fitness, and that's the world that she's living in. And you kind of go, okay, well, what does her, like the shape of her breast have to do with physical fitness? But then when we saw her working out and it was affecting her daily life, she was in pain. It wasn't just like, oh, I don't like the look of this. She's like, this is in pain, and it's like hindering my ability to do, what I like to do, but also that's her livelihood, you know? She's trying to be a personal trainer. So I thought, wow, this girl really like needs some help, you know, so that she can do her everyday life and spend time with her husband.
I agree. Went beyond aesthetics when it came to her. She opened the episode saying, my boobs went down south. And it's true, they were just drooping, and that was definitely an issue for her. But like you're saying, more importantly, not being able to, she couldn't get the degree she needed, her training certificate. Like she really needed this surgery. So
she was doing tricep dips and like stopped after 2.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you too, because when you are working out, you forget certain muscles that move with the whole body. Like you don't think that your boobs are gonna make a difference when you work out and everything. And in her case, it does. And what surprises me that she breastfed with those boobs, and I was a little like,
I was wondering how she did that too.
Exactly. I was like confused. Like, wait, that's possible? I wonder if that actually made it worse.
And couldn't you also, like, I mean, she didn't know if her breast had actually, like, erupted or something. You could actually get, I mean, I could be wrong, but couldn't you get, like, silicone poisoning just thinking logically?
Right, if it popped.
If there's something wrong, like, in her breast?
Definitely.
Yep.
I mean, we've seen those breast implants that are just like goo, and I was surprised when they opened her up. Her implants were fine. I think the main issue was just that they were placed in the wrong way.
It's above her muscle, yeah.
Of the
Yeah,
muscle,
yeah.
which is a big no-no, as we've learned throughout this episode.
Yeah, and especially for someone who's very physically fit and has developed muscles, like especially right there. Even the doctor was saying, you know, it's difficult with patients who have are really
Thicker
muscular.
muscles, yeah.
So during her consultation, she said that the doctor that she went to, she does not think was a plastic surgeon. And then I believe it was Dr. Dubrow had asked her, does he also do injections and injectables? So once again, we're back into the trend of going to a real plastic surgeon versus someone that does plastic surgery. Like, are they certified in the procedure? I myself, as I've said before, would never go to anybody that doesn't specialize specifically in what I was looking to get done. So she had two different options. She could, so when the doctor had her come into the actual surgery, they had her husband, Marcel, come in and decide on the two options. Number one was to do it was like 50 cc smaller, when by putting it under the muscle, he already said that it was lifted. So he consulted with the husband to see if they should actually still do the lift, which would cause excessive scarring. And so I really want to know what you girls thought, like, about the husband coming in. Once again, I don't remember the name of the last time it happened, but the husband came in and made the decision.
It was
the final
insane.
decision.
It was definitely the most, like, for me personally, like, a jaw-dropping moment of the whole entire season. And we've seen, like I said earlier, like, goo implants. We've seen crazy noses. We've seen last week this guy with the scar who they put implants on his forehead. We've seen insane things, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just me. I was just really shocked by that. That he came in. She's under surgery. She's opened up. There's a guy holding a knife who's about to do more surgery, and he just walks in and like, oh, like this, as if she was like a Barbie doll. Honestly.
Yeah. This particular thing bothered me yet again because he's not wearing scrubs. He's not in medical, like they ask you to do when they when you're in a surgery room. It made me feel a little uncomfortable. But for me, I'm picky when it comes to my body. No one's not going to tell me, or if you're my significant other, you're not going to make that big decision whether if it should be lifted or not. You better enjoy what you got. So for that, it was just a little something different we've never seen. A little uncomfortable.
Yeah, so you don't think you should have the husband shouldn't have had a say?
No,
Should
because
have been the doctor.
No, because I'm not specifically talking about this couple in particular. Mm-hmm. Any couple that decides to have their significant other make that decision, you never know what can happen in the future. What if they get a divorce?
Yeah, very true. But I think I
love how she's knocking on glass and not on wood. I was like, they're getting divorced for sure. Find someone.
But I'm just saying, you never know what could happen.
So that's why, as a doctor, I thought it was very interesting that he made the husband come in and make that decision. So where's the line if it's a medical decision versus personal decision? It is a personal matter, but he is the one doing the surgery, so I would feel that he should be making all the decisions. So that was very interesting because I thought that was very unusual.
Well, right, and you'd think that, like, pre-surgery they would have had the consultations. Like, he knew going in, here are the options that you have. Like, why wasn't that discussed with the patient? I sort of agree with you. I think it's her body. She should be able to actually have the ultimate say. So he knew that those were, like, the two options. Why didn't they discuss that beforehand? That's a little, to me, is like, maybe that should have been talked about pre-surgery.
Do you think it was a TV drama effect?
I mean, it could have.
Yeah, because in the actual consultation, if you remember, he actually outlined for her where the scarring would be. So he showed her nipple, and he said he also said that they were going to run the risk of the nipple actually dying. Mm-hmm. And she still said that she wanted the lift. Mm-hmm. And listen, like, to each their own. We don't know what it's like to be her, to have your breast sagging for years, like through 3 children, several years apart. So that was ultimately her decision. So I feel like they do it for, like, the sense of drama. Mm-hmm. Like, he ultimately knew, Dr. Dubrow ultimately knew that she wanted the lift. She was even willing to risk a dead nipple. Like, he's like, it will fall off. And she's like, yeah, I want the scarring. I'm okay if it's going to be a dead nipple. I don't know, maybe because she's been watching too much Botched. She's like, they just give you worst case, but then they get you best case. So I feel like she already had agreed. In terms of the scrubs, I feel like there's a technicality they go off of, because if you notice, they make it a point to show that he's in another room. Mm-hmm. But I do agree, like, because even when they're filming, you guys notice when they're, like, washing their hands and they have, like, that orange stuff? Like, I wondered, I'm like, you're there with the cameras and you're, like, this close to him and he's cleaning his hands. Like, is he going to wash it again? Is it just for, like, the video and then he's going to actually clean his hands again? So I feel like it's more for the video element. And I want to know, okay, so I know your thoughts on what you thought about the husband making the decision. Which decision would you girls make? Would you get the excess scarring, or would you have just gone with the implant with no risks?
Well, so that was a great question, because I thought, well, isn't there like laser surgery now that you can get rid of scarring post-surgery? So it sort of seems like if you get the aesthetic that you're looking for, the lifted breast, then you can always go in after the fact. And I think you can like laser now scars, basically.
It depends. Some scars are extremely deep. There's nothing you can do. You know, so you can definitely have it fade away, but she'll always have a
I mean, there's lasers in Mederma and stuff like that, but those are like deep scars. And then if you're thinking from an aesthetic standpoint, like for aesthetic reasons, she wants her nipples to be up higher, not facing down. Yeah. So then you're going to take it being higher at the risk of literally having like scars around it. Mm-hmm. So it's like either way.
So a lose-lose situation.
It's lose-lose, and then I would go with what's the safer route. Like, I don't want my nipple falling off. Like, that sounds crazy.
Yeah, I know they kept on repeating dead nipple, dead nipples, and they're laughing about it, but it was more of like a nervous situation.
Like, what does a dead nipple mean? Does that just mean you have no nipple, or is it what happens?
I don't know. He said it's gonna fall off. Like, I have no idea what that meant. I really would love to like look that up after I leave here. He's like, it's gonna fall off.
That sounds scary.
Please leave comments with the hashtag dead nipple.
Let us know. I think I'm the type
nipple.
of person where, like, if I'm going to the professional, I want their opinion, because they're the professional. They know what they're doing, and with these doctors, they're giving her options. If they're giving me options, I'm gonna be like, what's the best option? I don't care. I just want to get this fixed. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, no one's not gonna. I mean, hopefully, no one else sees your nipples besides your husband or your significant other.
Yeah. Well, as we saw, she had incredible results. I mean, the before and after on this, we've seen a lot of before and afters on the breasts, but they looked awesome.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, we're not going to see the scarring or how much scarring that she got. I will say, though, I really did like the husband this time. Sometimes I think the husbands are a little bit iffy. I liked him. I feel like he was very supportive of her. I felt like he would have been happy either way. And the fact that he took her class was super cute. So what did you guys think of the results?
Oh, gosh, the husband was hilarious. So right when he walked in, he totally thought Dr. Nassif had muscle. And, well, he does. I'm sure he has muscle. But trying to make a good impression, but also type of good relationship right there before they go in. And I feel like that he's the type of husband who's just so supportive. And I like that these are workout couples. Like, these guys are workout couples, and their children are adorable, too.
Mm-hmm. He kept calling him the Hulk.
The bulk, the incredible bulk.
Oh, the incredible bulk.
But it's true, you're saying that there's sometimes we've seen spouses that are overbearing and just give off bad vibes, and he was very sweet. And again, I like the idea of him. He walked in and he's cracking jokes, but he wants to create this good bond. So they have this good relationship with the doctors, but he also knows, like, hey, I'm a big guy, so do not mess my wife up any more than she already is.
So we can all agree we like Marcel.
Yes. And I think even like when it comes to him making decisions for his wife, I think everything he's doing is totally out of love. He seems really in sync with her, and like he knows what she would really want. Yeah. So I don't, even though personally I would never want somebody making a decision about my body, I feel like with him I've obviously talked about options and stuff.
And I also feel like it's less about, and I completely agree with you, they could get divorced tomorrow, and women are constantly doing stuff for their men, and then relationships don't work out, or their marriages get divorced, and they're like, why did I do that? So, but in this case, I feel like he knew her the best.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like maybe he gave the best decision. But like I said, we already knew she was willing to take any repercussions to get the lift. So obviously we knew that's what she wanted. Now we're going to go into Belinda with the witch nose. Oh, Belinda, her nose, oh my God, the points on it. I felt so bad for her. So basically, the story with Belinda is that she had her first rhinoplasty at 25. She said she was bullied when she was younger for her nose. And as we know, what happens to you when you're younger unfortunately affects you and causes insecurities as you get older. She's gone over 18 years without a revision. She went to 50 different consultations for revision, and every doctor, until the incredible Dr. Nassif, said no. So what do you girls think about Belinda?
I thought at first, I felt really bad for her, the fact
know.
that she had to deal with that for 18 years. But when they examined her, I thought that that it made sense why 50 doctors didn't necessarily take her, because the way it was moved and everything, and he was like, this is going to be a tough one, but he knows he can do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this was really, really cool.
Yeah, it was really sad again, like you were saying, because as she's telling her story, she says, "quote I researched the creme of the crop." Like she really did her research, and she was wanted to do the research and make sure that she had the best. And it was so sad it didn't work out for her, but. Yeah.
Like, how do you keep hope? I so felt for her as well, but and I just thought, how do you keep up hope after 18 years of, like, this must have been such an emotional journey for her, because 50 different doctors telling you, like, there's no way, honey. I think after doctor, like, 3, I would have been like, well, I'm stuck with this nose. And you can clearly tell it was so important to her, and I can understand why, because honestly, that nose was a situation.
And I mean, to go literally, she said 25 years she got bullied, to finally think at 25, okay, I'm at the perfect age to get my nose fixed. And then she has a rhinoplasty that goes wrong. She ends up getting 2 pointy pieces of cartilage, and then her nose ends up collapsing in. So she goes another 18 years after that with an even worse nose. And, you know, she talks about how people were looking at her. And, you know, like, how when she was talking about it, I just felt for her.
Yeah.
Because I can only imagine, like, especially when she was talking about younger kids, I mean, it sucks. They should know better, but they really don't sometimes.
Yeah.
And they think it's okay to, like, laugh about things. So I can't imagine, like, what that did to, like, her self-esteem. But she was, you know, such an incredible woman. And, you know, we saw that they actually ended up taking out, which I wanted to ask you girls what you thought about this. They tried to get a piece of her rib out to add it to, like, the center of her nose to give her, like, a higher nose so not only she could breathe but didn't have a point. And she happened to forget to mention that she had broken ribs.
Yeah. Well, I wondered, like, did they explain to her, because they didn't really explain to us that they were going to be taking a piece of her rib. It was sort of, I either just missed that part or I was kind of unclear.
It's mentioned in, like, the cartoon animated, but I don't really remember
quickly.
them.
Yeah.
I don't remember a scene of them saying that to her.
Yeah, so I mean, she might have just not really understood the scope of the surgery.
Yeah.
And which it sounds like, by the way, with 50 other doctors, I mean, they might not have even ever considered going in that heavily to take a piece of her nose, or a piece of her rib rather, to fix her nose, which was. I think in terms of, like,
crazy.
Forgetting, you can crack a rib or, like, fairly easy and not have to have surgery. So, I mean, it's possible that you could have, like, injured a rib and just sort of forgotten about it.
He kind of said, oh, I took out a piece of your rib, and I realized after the fact, he said it was too much calcium on it, and so that he wasn't able to use it. Like, he said it so casually, like, I just took out a piece of your your rib cage, and I couldn't use it. We've also seen in the past, I think it was like 2 episodes ago, he used a piece of the girl's ear.
Cartilage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think in her case, she needed something, like, stiffer, because there's a big difference between cartilage and a piece of your rib.
Right. I think I agree with her. Like, she probably did forget. She obviously didn't have surgery on her ribs, so she probably just broke and didn't think of it. But as well, when you're writing everything down on the piece of paper that the doctor provides you, did you have this? Did you have that? I wonder if the piece of paper said, like, did you have any ribs or broken or anything like that? And she probably just said no, because if you have a maybe it was a bruised rib and didn't think that it could affect not using her nose.
She said broken rib, though. She specifically said broken.
Right.
And then also, too, they do ask you, like, on surgical paperwork, have you had any previous? But I do agree that at least maybe they didn't show us, and they might have asked her in detail. But I had no idea. Like, I don't know where he's like, I tried to get to her rib. I'm like, wait, why is he getting to her rib?
Yeah. Same.
Right.
Which is the other thing, too, that we haven't really talked about with her is, like, for all the bullying that she was going through, did you guys notice that when she was speaking, you could almost hear it in the way she was speaking, that her speech was affected by her, like, even by her nose and her breathing. So, like, beyond just being bullied and it being miserable, which I'm sure it was, there was also, like, you know, she couldn't breathe right. She was definitely
Physically
snoring.
impaired.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. I think it was definitely a great evolution. So finally, when she came out of the surgery, were you guys kind of shocked at what her nose looked like? Was it what you expected?
It's still, I mean, I think it's a little bit swollen. As we've seen in the other episodes, they say you have to give it at least a year. And like I know other people that, you know, have had surgeries, especially with cartilage, it takes a while for the bruising to go down. But I mean, anything looked better than
What she had.
she had before. I mean, I actually thought if one person just accidentally elbowed her the wrong way, her nose would just
pop. Well, they were saying that there was one piece that was just pushing out so much that it would end up on popping out. And when they were doing the surgery, they got rid of that piece. That was very. I'm proud of myself. I don't know about you guys, and I don't know about you guys at home. I'm able throughout the season to like watch more. I used to be like, oh, and actually you miss out on a lot. It's very nasty, but sometimes it's worth it. It's twisted.
I can watch a lot more, but I know in the episode coming up, or one of the 2 episodes coming up, I saw something splatter, and I was like, oh.
You got a little blood there on the yeah.
I like that the doctor's like, oh, it's bleeding, I'm squeamish. I'm like, you should be okay with all the blood that's happening, like, all the blood from everywhere.
So we can all agree that we're very happy with Belinda's situation. God bless you, Belinda.
Yes.
I can't imagine what it's like to spend that long with, like, it's directly on your face. It's not even like,
You can't escape.
you know, like, I hate the way my fingers look, and I hate my toes, and I always joke around about it, but I really don't like it. I'm just kidding. I love all of myself. But you know what I mean? Like, but it's like directly on your face. So the fact that she's gone so long and says that people would look at her, I just think she looks incredible. I think her nose looked great. I just thought the ending, like her reveal, the guy was kind of like,
not a good actor. To be honest, all of those, he's her husband, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
That
it's just maybe he's camera shy.
He's seen her before. It's not the first time he's seen her.
Yeah. I think that was it. But honestly, this woman's will. 50, she did not take no for an answer. And yes, it's, you know, say what you may about plastic surgery. No matter what, never take no for an answer. She got to 51, and the 51 was a yes. I think that's pretty darn cool. So
maybe Jonathan will find his 51st doctor to pump
no,
up his lips.
No. Sometimes it's good to be like, no.
And I mean, they did an incredible job on her nose. If that's just,
great.
they said, I think it was, they always show like 8 weeks or 4 weeks after. In a year, the swelling's gonna go down so much. And I mean, I honestly thought it looked great even as is, but it's gonna go down more. And speaking of successful nose jobs, so today we're not gonna do a botched or not botched segment. What we're doing is called a botched update. And basically we're gonna go back to season 2, episode 9 with Tanya, who also happens to be on the Second Wives Club on E. So she's actually on a TV show on E as well. And Anissa's gonna go through and let us know and go through the whole details of her procedure that she did with the doctors and where she is now.
Okay, hey everybody. This is Botched Update, just like Lina said. So, Tanya, she had a rhinoplasty. At 33, she did this. But 7 years prior, she had an ex-boyfriend who convinced her to do this.
Oh, God.
And pretty much her ex-boyfriend criticized her nose and was left with an oversized nostril. That's horrible. Like, feel bad for her. So this is her before and after photos that we are going to show you guys up at the Tron. And the fact that she was able to do this in season 2, she looks totally amazing. The update with her now, like you said, she's on Second Housewives Club. She is pregnant currently. She's married. She's gorgeous. Let's go to the second photo. So this photo, it just shows the way her nose looks, and I think that it looks great. It's been over, what, two years, a year since she had that, and now you could tell that it went swelling. The swelling went down, so this is exactly what the nose should look like after a year of getting it done for season 2.
Did they mention her boobs? Those are pretty darn big.
Push up, bro.
Well, she's also
pregnant.
She's pregnant here.
she's-
I think from what I remember, because I've seen her Instagram before, this is actually her maternity shoot, which she looks amazing.
Yeah, and then we have a second photo as well. So
She looks gorgeous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she looks
beautiful.
great. So, and then we have,
Another botched success.
and very successful. So, what do you guys think? What do you ladies think?
I think it's awesome, and I'm glad that we're seeing. I know it's not like super close up, but
Right.
I'm glad that we're seeing her now. Like, I think it's longer than 2 years. Probably, it probably filmed 2 years ago, but 3 years later, how much the swelling's gone down. So I can't even imagine like how much Belinda's swelling's gonna go down. Like her nose is gonna look awesome after.
Exactly. And the fact that she's now happily married, having a baby, is on a same
Keeping it in the family.
Keeping it at E. keeping it entertainment with the baby and being on Second Housewives.
Yeah,
Club.
that's good. That's awesome that she's, again, I don't think it's, we've talked about this in previous episodes about overbearing boyfriends and having someone that you love convince you to alter your face.
Yeah.
Not someone you should be with, so good for her.
Yeah, good
Thank
for
you
her.
sharing
Very
with
excited.
us.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I thought she was, beautiful before and after, but I think she's,
Yeah.
as long as she's happy and confident now in her own body, which it sure seems like she is.
Yeah, and then she was Miss India 2011.
Well, Tanya, we're very happy for you, and congratulations on the husband, the pregnancy. That's a lot to happen in 2 years, by the way.
Right.
She just was like, I got the nose job, I'm getting the husband, I'm getting the baby. So
And now she got a show.
and then now she's on a show, Second Wives Club, which is, like we said, also on E! So now, what do you guys think of coming up? So we saw the teasers, there's like the duct tape breasts, and then there's apparently Dr. Nassif's future ex-wife.
Oh yeah, I think she wishes maybe. What was with there was some ripples happening, and was that, I think it was a man? His chest was
Yeah,
going
No, I
on.
can't wait to see. Very
Lot of,
excited. I've seen like on Instagram the duct tape tip where people duct tape their boobs just to make crazy push-ups, but it seems like she does.
People
this
do
on-
that?
Yes, you Google it. Kim Kardashian does it, but
Goes to Google how to duct tape my boobs.
exactly. But yeah, it's to have to do it on the regular. That's crazy. All that montage, I can't even think now because there was just so many jaw-dropping moments one after the other, and I think we
Right.
have a lot of very exciting episodes coming ahead. I'm
There-
really excited.
Yeah, so am I. I'm really excited because with this upcoming episode that they're going to be airing soon is Angelina. She was on, back then she was a reality. So when reality started coming out, she was on Rock of Love with.
I was like,
Bret
who
Michaels.
isn't on a reality show
Yeah.
these days?
Yeah, so when reality shows started coming up, she was on Rock of Love with what's that? The lead singer from Poison.
Yeah,
Bret Michaels.
something,
So she was a wild one on the show. So we'll see how wild she gets on Botched.
Yeah. It was funny to watch you gals. Everybody, I think, when the preview was coming up, everybody was like, "Oh, there's a lot of squirting."
So
and
many emotions on this show.
Yes.
Like, no, yes, oh, God.
So as you can see, we're super excited about what's coming up next week. Make sure to stay tuned. It is season 4, episode 8. And before we wrap up, I'm gonna have all the girls let you know where you can find them on social media. Thank you, Ashley, for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you
Hopefully
so much
we'll have
for
her back
having
soon.
me. It was a blast. I hope to be back. You can find me online at Ashley on Camera, pretty much on all the social sites that are out there.
Awesome. You can find me on Instagram at Bonjour Juliet.
And you can find me at anything that's the internet at Anissa Barr with 3 R's at the end.
And I'm your host, Lina Noory. You can find me on Instagram at Lina Noory and Twitter at Lina Noory _. Thank you guys so much once again for tuning in. We appreciate you spending your Sunday with us. We love you, and we'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.